Okay, so we are at the conclusion of our series on prosperity. So tonight we're going to look at 7 biblical financial principles. So we're going to look at managing your finances the biblical way. So I'll start by reading Luke 16:11. It says, "Therefore, if you have not been faithful in the use of unrighteous wealth, who will entrust you with true riches?" So did you know that Jesus talks more about money than he did talk about heaven or hell? And there are more parables about money than any other topic in the Bible. So the Bible says that money is the root of all evil, but money in itself isn't bad. So the love of money is bad,
Right.
but money itself is morally neutral. So just because someone has money doesn't mean they love it.
Right. Right.
Just because someone loves money doesn't mean they have it. So what matters is how you view it and how you use it.
Yeah.
So they say money changes you, but money doesn't change you. An abundance of money just amplifies your character. It makes you more of what you already are. So if you're mean, if you get a lot of money, you'll be meaner. If you're selfish, you get a lot of money, you'll be more selfish.
Yeah. Or in other words, cheap.
Well, that's something different. You might not be as cheap.
That's good. That ought to win the lotto then.
That's right.
Yeah, I just want help.
This is what helps.
Keep me working.
Yeah.
And so these two authors, Thomas Stanley and William Danko, they did a survey of 1,100 millionaires. So they interviewed 1,100 millionaires, people who were truly wealthy in America, and they wanted to see what they had in common. They wanted to see what are the common traits of these 1,100 millionaires. What are they all doing the same? So they came up with 7 traits that these millionaires had. So these aren't the 7 traits we're going to be studying, but this is just kind of an interesting intro. So 7 traits of 1,100 millionaires. Number 1 trait was they live well below their means. So the 1,100 millionaires, they live below their means. They don't spend as much as they could. They allocate their time, money, and energy efficiently in ways conducive to earning wealth, is how they define efficiently. So they allocate their time, money, and energy efficiently in ways conducive to earning wealth. Number 3, the 1,100 millionaires, they built their own wealth. That's what they find. So over 80% of millionaires today are first-generation millionaires. So they didn't inherit it. And so the studies that they found is a lot of the common things go against the perception that most people have about rich people. Number 4, they believe financial independence is more important than social status. So being financially independent is more important than, looking good to other people. Number 5, their adult children are now self-sufficient financially. So their children aren't necessarily spoiled and just living off of mommy and daddy now. The common thing about them is their children are now taking care of themselves financially. They're independent. Number 6, they're proficient in targeting the right market opportunity.
Yeah.
So they all could identify what a good opportunity from a bad opportunity. And number 7, they chose the right occupation or industry. So they chose the right field to be in. So those are the 7 traits of millionaires. So those aren't what we're going to study, but it's interesting aside. Some of those correlate to the biblical principles. And so we've been talking about prosperity, and so I have to do that with an understanding that, some people, it's hard to talk about prosperity when some people are unemployed or deep in debt. They don't necessarily want to hear about prosperity. They don't want to hear about being a millionaire because they're trying to just get back to zero. They're trying to get out of debt.
Right.
Today we're going to look at 7 biblical financial principles. ways to manage your money, and what does the Bible say about handling money. So the 7 principles are, number 1, have a plan. They say if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Number 2, save. So spend less than you earn.
Right.
Number 3, invest. Invest your money.
Yeah.
And so we're going to look at the principle of seed versus bread. Number 4 is to get out of debt or stay out of debt. So basically get back to 0.
Yeah.
Number 5 is live within your means. Act your wage.
Yeah.
Act your wage. Number 6 is tithe. Tithing. Give a tenth of what you owe, what you earn to God. And number 7 is to give generously. So we're going to look at these principles, and we're going to look at what the Bible says about them. And as our overlying story, we're going to look at Joseph, when Joseph became second under Pharaoh in Egypt. And so we're going to look at that as kind of our overlying story for this. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Ready, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start with have a plan. So I'll read Genesis 41, 29 to 37. So we know that Joseph, he was in prison, and then Pharaoh had a dream, and his cupbearer remembered Joseph in jail, and so he called Joseph to come out and interpret the dream. And so Joseph interpreted his dream and came up with a plan, and so we'll read that. So this is Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dream. He says, 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will follow. Then all of the abundance in Egypt will be forgotten, and the famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered, because the famine that follows it will be so severe. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is that the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon. And now let Pharaoh look for a discerning and wise man to put in charge of the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years that are coming and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh, to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country, to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so the country may not be ruined by famine. The plan seemed good to Pharaoh and to all his officials. We see that Joseph, he got out of jail, he interpreted Pharaoh's dream. He saw that there's going to be 7 years of feast, 7 years of abundance, and then 7 years of famine. So then he came up with a plan for what Pharaoh should do during those years in order to survive the famine. Previously, we saw God working miracles through the patriarchs. He allowed Sarah, Rebecca, and Rachel to conceive supernaturally.
Yeah.
He turned Lot's wife into a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
After this, he performed miracles. He parted the Red Sea. He brought water from a rock. But here, with Joseph, God didn't choose to do anything supernatural.
No.
So what did he give Joseph? He gave him a financial plan. So if Joseph would have just interpreted Pharaoh's dream and told him what the dream meant, then Pharaoh would have probably said, okay, you can be amongst my court of my advisors, my magicians, my sorcerers. But since Joseph also had a plan, then Pharaoh put him in charge of the whole land because he had a plan. So similarly, we shouldn't always expect God to supernaturally provide for our finances and our needs.
No.
We need to have a financial plan.
Yeah.
John D. Rockefeller was one of the richest men to ever live, and they asked him what he attributed his success to, he says he attributes it to, he takes 10% of his money and he tithes. He takes 10% of his money and he saves it, and then he lives off the other 80%. That's what he attributed his success to. So we need a financial plan. We need to have a budget. We need a budget to plan our spending. So we need to budget where we're going to spend our money. And then once we create the budget, we have to follow it. So we need to know what we own. We need to know what we owe. We need to know what we earn. And we need to know when and where it goes. So we want to keep records. Proverbs 27:23-24 says, "Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds. For riches do not endure forever, and a crown is not secure for all generations." So it's telling you to know the condition of your flock. So why is that? So in every society, there's a currency that we use to exchange things. So here we use dollars, dollar bills with pictures of presidents on them. So in every society, there's a currency, and people store up that currency for security. So they hold on to certain amounts of currency for security. So in the ancient cultures, their currency was cattle, livestock, and sheep. That's how they exchanged. So they would exchange livestock. So that's where the word stock exchange comes from. They would exchange the stock, the livestock.
So also I'm saying, like back then, it said 23 in Proverbs 27 says, "Be sure that your condition of your flocks." Be sure you know the condition of your flocks and give careful attention to your herds. So they have to always be out of to their herds so they get paid. That their flock cannot get sick.
Right. Right. So they have to know, whether their flock, the health of them. And they had to keep account of that. The health of them, how many they had, if they lost some, if some were dying. So keep account, so that how sick it was. And so
they couldn't get no money if they got sick.
Right. Okay. They couldn't sell them. And they couldn't eat them, depending on what they got sick of.
So they catch that easily.
So you have to keep, and then it could spread throughout the flock. So you need to, so you need to know the condition of your flock. So so basically that's telling us we need to know the condition of our money. We need to keep records. We need to know where our money is sick. We need to know where our money is hurting, because it can infect the rest of our money.
Right. If your money is funny, Unchained is strange. That's where it is.
So we need to keep a plan. We need to have a plan. So that's number one. Number one principle is have a plan. Any thoughts on that?
I think you should seek God what that plan is. You try to do it on your own.
Right.
You go right back to what you did before. Believe me, I personally, I never thought God was going to keep the money. Now I am. How to be faithful with it and what to spend, what not to spend. And so some of the other things that we'll talk about will help influence that plan. Help influence that plan. So number 2 is save. And so you have Genesis 41:47-49. We'll look at Joseph again.
During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced plentiful. Joseph collected all the food produced in those 7 years of abundance in Egypt and stored it in the cities. In each city he put the food grown in the fields surrounding it. Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain like the sand of the sea. It was so much that he stopped keeping records because it was beyond measure.
So the first part of Joseph's plan was, during the years of abundance, he was just going to store up. He was going to save. So his strategy was to save during the good times. He saved for the future. So
1/5 of the
grain.
Yes.
So his plan was to save 1/5. So we need to save. So saving is different from investing. Because saving had little or no risk. So like he saved the grain, he wasn't trying to grow the grain into something else. He just saved it. So investing, you're trying to turn $4 into $5. Saving, you're just holding on to your $4.
Yeah.
So saving comes before investing.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to save. And so now, how do we want to save? You're Proverbs 13:11.
Yeah. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow.
Right. So if you gather your money little by little,
Yeah.
you make it grow.
Right.
So the Hebrew implies building it gradually. So it's not getting rich quick. Isn't the
Being
plan.
dishonest, yeah. It's telling you don't be dishonest.
Right. Don't be dishonest. But also, you're saving it little by little. So it's not winning the lottery. It's not. It's just a little bit. You save a little bit regularly.
Yeah.
It's not marrying somebody who's rich. It's not sowing a large tithe in the offering plate to try to get a big blessing. It's gradual, continuous increase from spending less than you make every month.
Yeah.
So if you don't learn how to make it, you won't learn how to manage it.
No, sure.
So it's not the amount you save that matters most. It's the consistency. It's the discipline. So you're saving every month, you're spending less than you make. That's gradually saving, little by little. So every month, you spend less than you make. So no matter the amount, it's the consistency that matters most. You're saving. And it's hard to do in America because it takes delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I guess most people don't like delayed gratification.
No.
We want it now.
Right now.
Nowadays.
We want it right now. So we need to learn how to save for things, how to save up for things, not get it now and I'll pay for it later. You know, we're in a society where, you know, people don't worry about how much it costs. They want to know how much are the payments. Yes, I get it now and I'll just pay for it over time.
What I can afford.
Yeah.
Or I can get it if I pay more on it, I can pay it sooner than I get it before I get it to the house.
Right. They want to get it
It's a
now.
rush thing.
It's like I want to get it to TV now,
Yeah.
and then I want to make payments on it.
Yeah.
Versus I want to save for it and then pay for the TV.
Right. Everything the cash is a lot easier.
We don't want to wait.
No. There's no patience. There's no patience in getting things these days.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 2015, the average Japanese person in Japan saved 25% of their income. The average European saved 18%. The average American spent 1% more than they made.
Yeah. That's what they mean. That's what they're like. Yeah.
We're in trouble.
Man,
We have become consumers.
We become consumers
big time consumers.
Yeah.
in debts,
Big time consumers.
victims of usury. So we feel entitled as Americans. We feel entitled. It's like I deserve it now. I work hard. I should be able to have a nice TV, the nice car, and so
We have created little monsters.
Yeah.
You know, with the children, you don't want your children to go through what you've gone through, right? So their parents spoil them. And then we create handicapped people that don't want to work, don't want to do anything, and they want everything now.
Right.
They want to be famous in 15 minutes. And They want to be rich. It's our reality shows they're ruin a lot of people.
It's like I want to be famous, but I don't have no talent.
Yeah.
But you're a millionaire on top of it.
Yeah.
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 That's what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah, they did this study with kids where they put these kids in a room with a marshmallow. And it said, okay, we're going to leave you here with this marshmallow. That's your marshmallow. You could eat it. You could do whatever you want with it. They said, but I'm going to come back in 15 minutes. If you haven't eaten it, I'll give you 3 more marshmallows. But if you eat it, then I won't give you anything else. They said, okay. So then they leave the room, and the kids would sit there for a while, and most of them would just eat it.
Yeah.
They couldn't wait, delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But then some of them would wait, They come in, they would get to 3 more marshmallows. And what they did is they followed those kids throughout their lives, and they found out the ones who waited for the marshmallow, they scored higher on the SATs.
Wow.
They did better in college, and they were wealthier than the ones who ate the marshmallow right away.
Wow.
So the ones who had the delayed gratification, they were more successful. They were more in control of their lives. So it's
Little more
it's
patience.
important, more patient,
Yeah.
and more willing to
Perseverance.
willing to sacrifice now
Yeah.
for something in the future. And that's kind of what Christianity is. I'm being willing to sacrifice now for something in the future. So that's number 2. Save. All right. Any thoughts on saving?
No, it's good info.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3 is invest. You have Genesis 47, 14, 17. Who's that?
I got it. I got it.
Okay.
Joseph collected all the money that was to be found in Egypt and Canaan in payment for the grain they were buying, and he brought it to Pharaoh's palace. When the money of the people of Egypt and Canaan was gone, all Egypt came to Joseph and said, "Give us food. Why should we die before your eyes? Our money is all gone." "Then bring your livestock," said Joseph. I will sell you food in exchange for your livestock, since your money is gone." So they brought their livestock to Joseph and gave them food in exchange for their horses, their sheep, their goats, their cattle, their donkeys, and he brought them through that year with food in exchange for all their livestock.
So Joseph was working it.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the people were out of money. So now Joseph had all the money. Joseph had all the money and land.
So he had grain, and he had so now he has money and he has grain.
So he has all the food.
And the livestock, right?
Well, before he didn't have it yet. Yeah, right here. So they gave him all the money to buy it. Now they're out of money. So now he's like, okay, well, give me your livestock.
Yeah.
So now he got all the food, the money, and all the livestock.
Yeah.
So first, what Joseph do is he saved, and then he saved money. He once he got enough money to meet his needs, he saved more, and now he's diversifying into other goods.
Yeah.
So he's diversifying into livestock. So livestock. So you have Ecclesiastes 11:2.
All right. Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You don't know what disaster may come upon the land.
So it's saying invest in a lot of different ventures because you don't know what's going to happen. So it's basically saying diversify.
Yeah.
Don't just put your money into one thing. So after you save, now you want to invest your money. You want a mix of high risk and low risk, saving and investing, and so I know a lot of people, have trouble, thinking about investing and planning. I remember when I started a job, there was another guy who started on the same day as me, and you had to fill out all the paperwork, and we had to fill out our 401k, and they asked you what percent you want to put in each of these funds. They give you all these funds and a little description, and you got to put, I want to put this percent to this one, this percent. And so another guy started the same day, and he was like, "Hey, what you investing in?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's personal. I don't want to, So, and he was like, "No, I just want to know, which." But I was like, then so I finally realized, okay, he wasn't up to no good, but I didn't know. So so I gave it to him, showed him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good." And then he took his out. He just copied. He copied down the percentages.
Yeah.
So some people don't really want to think about what they invest. They don't know.
No.
And so you may need to get professional help to tell you how to diversify and how to invest. You can do mutual funds and low risk, but you want a mix of high and low risk. So, I know one. I have a long-term plan that always works, 100%. If you save your money, wait for a crash of something, and then put your money into it.
Yeah.
So whether it be housing, the stock market, if you're waiting for the crash, then you put your money in. You always do good.
But ain't that a risk you put in the stock market though? All money you may have saved.
Well, no. You don't. So I'm saying this. So saving is separate than investing. So you want to save first,
Yeah.
and saving low risk. The investing is the next set of money. So you don't invest until you've saved,
Okay.
and that's you don't put your savings into risky stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to have
that's good. Yeah.
you want to save first. You want to have your grain in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have that, then once you get more money, then you can invest it. If you don't have your savings yet, you can't invest yet.
Yeah.
So the saving is first.
Just like we should be saving for another bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or another
It sure will
bust.
come.
This place is getting too expensive, you know.
Yeah.
This area.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we talk about seed versus bread. You have 2 Corinthians 9:10.
2 Corinthians 19. Now he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness.
So it says God supplies the seed to the sower and the bread for food. You eat bread and you plant seed. So seed is for sowing, it's for planting, it's for growing crops in the future. But bread is for eating. So it'd be foolish to eat your seeds, and it'd be foolish to plant your bread, because nothing's going to grow. So the bread is for today. Bread is for your personal enjoyment.
Yeah.
God wants you to enjoy today. So some of the stuff you have, you want to enjoy it. It's for today. So you have money, you want to enjoy your stuff today. But your seed is for the future. So a farmer, if they grow corn and they eat all the corn that they grow, they don't have any corn next year.
Right.
So you gotta grow, you gotta eat some, but you gotta save some there to plant, sow for next year. You gotta have some corn to plant for next year. So you need seed and bread.
Yeah.
So you need some money that you're gonna invest for the future as well as enjoying it now. So if you eat your seed, you won't have anything to plant next year. You need to use some of your seed to invest in the future. So you have to seed versus bread. Some of your money is for seed, some of it is for bread. You can't eat all your seeds.
No.
Okay, the next one is stay out of debt. The fourth principle is stay out of debt. Let's see, you have Genesis 47,
Yes.
20 to 24.
Yes, I do. So Joseph bought all the land in Egypt for Pharaoh. The Egyptians, one and all, sold their fields because the famine was too severe for them. The land became Pharaoh's, and Joseph reduced the people to servitude from one end of Egypt to the other. However, he did not buy the land with priests because they received a regular atonement from Pharaoh and had food enough for the allotment of Pharaoh gave them. That is why they did not sell the land. And Joseph said to the people, now that I have bought you and your land today for Pharaoh, here is seed for you so you can plant the ground. But when the crops come in, give a fifth of it to Pharaoh. The other 4/5 you may keep as seeds for the fields and your food for yourselves and your households and your children.
So Joseph stored up all the goods
Mm-hmm.
and he saved it. Then the people came gave him money for it.
Yeah.
And then now Joseph had all the money. So they came back. They said, we don't have any money, but we need some food. He said, okay, give me your livestock. Give me your cattle, your sheep. So now Joseph had all their cattle.
Yeah.
Then they came back the next year and said, well, we're still hungry, but you took all our cattle and all our money. And so Joseph said, okay, well now I'm going to buy you. So now he bought the people and their land. So he took their land and the people. So now Pharaoh owned the land, and the people basically became slaves. So the Egyptians were in debt to Pharaoh, and Joseph's family became in debt to Pharaoh because his family had moved there. The Israelites had moved there because there was famine where they were. So that's how the Jews became slaves to Egypt.
But did that go on for generations though?
Didn't it go on the being slaves? Or
they're going being slaves.
Yeah, they
for
were
400 years.
Yeah, they were slaves for 400
But
years.
that's another story. So this
is how it happened.
God is saying, to save, right? But how it happened is because they were disobedient, right?
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Right. So how it happened is because they became indebted to Pharaoh. So they went in debt to Pharaoh, and they had to sell themselves to pay it back, because you can't. He didn't just take credit. There was no credit card. It was like, you got to give me your livestock. You got to give me something.
Well, Joseph did a wonderful job because of God managing that famine, right?
Yes.
Because it was about that.
Right.
Keeping grains and feeding the people and.
Right.
And it's almost, it sounds like he's taking also the cattle and all that, but actually he's taking little by little to have them to make sure they don't finish this grain.
So he's making sure there's a remnant of Israel still alive.
That.
Yeah. So he otherwise a lot of people would have been dead.
Yes.
A lot of people would have died. But now they're all in debt and they're slaves. And so debt is, so if you ever hear billionaires talk about, financial advice, like Warren Buffett, I heard him ask, if you can give one piece of advice to people, what would you tell them? And he said, stay out of debt. He's the second richest man in the world. He said, stay out of debt. It was his one piece of advice that he would give, financial advice. Because when you're in debt, if you don't do anything, you're going to get deeper in debt.
Yeah.
But the thing is you didn't get in debt overnight, so you can't expect to get out of debt overnight. It's a slowly and gradual. If you slowly and gradual got into it, it's slowly and gradual to get out.
See, that is good because I did not have any advice like that, and just to see how people get into debt and that, to know that people, to hear that they owe 10,000, 20,000 here and there, and they don't care. They just file bankruptcy, and just to be scared that I do not want to get there, be in debt like that.
Right.
I have never gotten myself into that. I got my cars, owing them, but it's not something. But you're gonna make payments, right?
Right.
On a car.
Yeah.
But going shopping on your credit cards and owing that much money, it's scary.
Yeah.
But there's people that don't have anybody and they don't care. They say, oh well, who are they gonna come after? I don't have anybody.
Yeah. And some people think that, I have a friend who filed bankruptcy and he filed bankruptcy, and then after he filed, credit card companies start sending them new credit cards.
They do.
And he's like, see, that's the reason, I went in debt. It's just credit card companies. It's like, no, that's not the reason you went in debt.
But,
you went in debt because you
and
spent
also there is young people
that you bought a Ferrari.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, there is young people that don't know how credit works.
Yeah.
I had no idea when I was young how is it that you get credit and how they give you this card to spend.
Right.
Where you get this money to spend?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they give it to the college students.
Yeah.
They try to give it to you in college.
Because you think,
you
you have a credit card, huh?
You want
to spend, right?
Parents pay the Yeah.
Or no, they give it personal ones too.
Yeah.
And but they want to get you in debt early.
Yeah.
And in college loans, a lot of people don't, I know people who are like
They're broke.
People who've been out of college for like 15 years, driving a BMW and stuff, and they still didn't pay off their college loans. It's like there's a verse that says, it's better to, I forget what it says, but it's something than to vow and not pay. It's like basically saying it's, sinful to vow and not pay. If you vow to do something, better not to vow than to vow and not pay.
You have to have a little moral, and think you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't take the money and don't care, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So God is good. He's been good to me. Has given me that.
That wisdom. Yeah. Yes. It's tough because a lot of people don't have an example of that because it's, the parents were in debt. The company they work for is in debt. The country they live in is in debt.
Still in debt.
So what do they learn? Be in debt.
Yeah. And then if you don't know God, you don't know it, you don't care.
Right. Although the Bible has tons of verses. I had to take some out. I had to, tons of verses about don't go in debt. Like the Bible just repeats it. We didn't have enough time for all those verses. But let's see. You have Proverbs 22:7.
The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to the lender. That is so true.
So the borrower is a slave to the lender. So the Israelites became slave to Egypt. The borrower becomes a slave to a lender. So some people are slaves to Chase Bank. Some people are slaves to Wells Fargo. Some people are slaves to Toyota.
Yeah.
The borrower becomes a slave to the lender.
Yeah.
They want you in debt. So one thing that was interesting, when credit cards were kind of first starting, a lot of places wouldn't accept credit cards because there's a fee. But I noticed that, the fast food companies, they accepted them early on.
Yeah.
And I was wondering why, how are they're not making that much money. How can they afford, they're selling small stuff. But McDonald's did a study and they found that people spend 47% less when they use cash.
Yeah.
So people spend more money when they're using credit cards because they don't see it as them spending money. They don't see it the same. People, for some reason, they don't see it the same when they're spending credit card.
I'm guilty of that.
You're guilty of that?
Well, first, before the credit cards were so popular, that's going to be our 666, I guess, credit cards. Nobody's thinking cash, only plastic.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to have
Mark of the beast.
Here, that barcode number.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. So before that, it became very handy, my checkbook, because I didn't want to carry cash. I'm one of those don't like to carry cash. I feel like, that's the problem. I feel like I'm tied up to this $20 bill. If I want to buy something else, then I can because this is all I have. So with my checking account, I just went, write a check, right? And I did have a better view of what I spend and balance my checking account.
Okay.
I feel like I had better control. If I had cash, I just go spend it like water, right? And then I don't have cash anymore. So I felt like I had better control with my checkbook.
Okay.
Because I had to balance. And with my credit cards, I do the same. I spend and then I pay them at the end of the month. So I became a credit card user thinking I'm using their money.
Okay.
And then I'll pay at the end, which I do. I don't owe anybody on credit cards. But but also I have the liberty of spending whatever.
Yeah. So that could be good and bad.
Yes.
If I use credit cards all the time, but I was the type of kid. So we would go, and other kids, like if they would, whatever money they had, if they got $3, let's get a hamburger and fries or whatever, and they would spend the money they had. But me, I could keep all my savings with me all the time, and I wouldn't spend a penny more or a penny. It wouldn't change my spending habit at all. Like I could carry all my money I had in the world with me. but I wouldn't spend any differently than if I only had a little bit with me. So I guess I was blessed in that sense. I'm the same. I have credit cards, but I pay them off every month. I don't buy, but I mean, I know. I mean, I don't spend more because I have a good credit. It's like I know what I'm gonna spend on something. Like it's planned. I don't have a lot of impulse buying.
And nowadays it seems like I changed from when I was younger that buy little things for the house, buy this and buy that, right? All garbage. All now that I see is garbage. Ornaments and dishes and stuff you already have, and every time they bombarding you with new, right? So I don't do that anymore. I ask myself, do I need it? No, I don't need it. You know, but still, it's like technology. It is absorbing me. Like now, I'm thinking I need a new phone. You know, and it is absorbing us.
Yeah, everyone needs a new phone. I don't really get that. Everybody
needs a new phone every year.
I need an iPhone 10. What do you like about the iPhone 10?
Well, this
What's
one broke.
10?
See here.
Yeah.
And it is the S5.
Oh, the S5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been really good to me. I just don't. But what I'm afraid of, all the info that I have in there, if I lose it, if the phone breaks, you know. Yeah. So I don't have it in a cloud. I can back it up on my computer. Yeah.
Or cloud.
Yeah. But anyways.
But you know, there's no cloud. It's just somebody else's computer.
Yeah. I don't use that stuff.
Yeah. I don't use that. So let's see. So stay out of debt. So it's okay to go backwards and go into debt for a short term if it's for a long term gain. Like for instance, going to college. So if if the debt is an investment, like going to college or something like that, it's okay to go into debt for a short term for a long term gain.
Well, because you're looking forward that you're gonna get better once you invest that.
Right.
You go into college, that's an investment.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So an investment like college is okay to go in debt for. So the next principle, live within your means. Proverbs 12:19 says, better to be a nobody and yet to have a servant than to pretend to be somebody and have no food. So it's better to live well and nobody knows you're rich than for everybody to think you're rich, but you're not living well. So one of the sayings I have was, would you rather be rich or look rich? So there's a story, I mentioned it once, heard this millionaire woman say that there's the difference between poor people, rich people, and wealthy people on how they see prosperity or being rich. She said poor people look at prosperity or being rich by their cars, their clothes, and their jewelry. So basically that the outward things are how they determine whether you are rich or not. They say rich people determine whether they're rich or not by their bank account. So it's like how much money you have in your bank account determines how rich you are. So whereas like the one person, they got $100,000 in their bank account, and then if you spend $50,000 on a car, they say, hey, now I'm rich because I got a $50,000 car. Whereas the other person will say, now I'm half as rich as I was before because my bank account is 50% less. The wealthy person, they look at being rich by how many generations they've taken care of, how many generations they've saved for or invested for that they've taken care of. So the purpose of prosperity or abundance is for you to honor God and to enjoy your life on earth, but it's to honor God also. So it's not to gain social status or to impress others. So that's what that verse is saying. It's better to be a nobody yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. So if you look rich and you can't eat, that's unwise or foolish, as the Bible would say. There's contentment. Where's Philippians 4:12?
Yes, got it. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want.
Right, so there's Paul saying he's learned how to
Yeah.
be happy, whether he's well fed and has a lot of stuff or whether he's in want.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be learn to be happy with what we have. So happiness is not determined by what you have; it's determined by your response to what you have. Howard Hughes was was a rich man, and they asked him, "What does it take for most people to be happy?" And he says, "Just a little bit more." So they're basically a little bit more than what they have right now. So they're never going to be happy with what they have. They always want more. And so a good mindset to get into is when you want to buy something, think about what's my return on investment. So instead of thinking what's the cost, think what's the return on my investment for this purchase. So it's, rich people will pay money to secure their money, to insure their money, whereas poor-minded people will pay money with the risk of making more money. Poor-minded people are trying to, I'll put this dollar because I might win the lottery with it. But, I remember when I went to the barber shop, and the people there, they buy a lottery ticket, so they'll bet on a game, bet on a football game, bet on the 49er game, and they in hopes of, winning a bunch of money. But there's parking meters outside, and I would put, if I'm going to be there 30 minutes, you put your money in and it's like 25 minutes, you put in another quarter.
Yeah.
But a lot of people there, they wouldn't, whenever the meter maid came, everybody's running out. Because it's like they didn't want to invest another quarter to save getting the ticket.
Right.
But they'll invest $1 with the chance of making millions.
Yeah.
So it's like you need to think most of my return on investment. So it's better to spend money to secure what you have or to not lose money than to spend money with the hopes of making some gain. So it's better to spend a quarter on a parking meter than spend $1 on a lottery ticket. So you don't want to look in terms of how, and like we talked about, you don't want to look in terms of how much is my monthly payment. You want to look in terms of how much does this cost.
Yeah.
So it's not just the monthly payment, it's the cost. And so the worst investment you can make, which is going to sound hypocritical at first, is a new car. A new car is the worst investment you can make because as soon as you buy it, you lose, 10%. As soon as you drive it off the lot, the value of it goes down. If you think of an investment, you say, hey, you can buy this stock. I know this new company, Palomino. You can invest in it. You say, really, you think it's going to do good? Yeah. The day after you buy it, it's going to drop 10%.
At least they have more.
Would you buy it?
Yeah.
It's like, no, but that's what a car, you're guaranteed. So some people, they say, oh, no, I got a Mercedes because it's a good investment. It holds up its value. It's like, no, it's a horrible investment because investment is supposed to grow in value.
Yeah.
But if you know it's going to lose value, so it's a depreciating asset. It loses money the longer you have it, and you're paying interest. So you're paying interest on something that's losing money. So that's kind of the worst thing you can do. So if you're paying interest on a house, in general, your house is going up in value. But if you're paying interest on a car, it's losing value every day you drive it, and you're paying interest on it. So unless it's like, a car is a collector's item or you're buying it to restore it and sell it, it's so I remember when I was in college, or not in college, when I was working at IBM, I was on the fast track. I've been working a few years, and my friends were making the same amount. They were driving BMWs and everything, But I had a car wreck and I had to get a car, and basically I was like, well, I have $7,000 that I've saved for a car, so I can get a $7,000 car, because it's like it doesn't matter what my paycheck was, what they promised to pay me. It's based on what I had, what I saved. So my bank account I used to determine what I could get, and so I just got this new car. It's expensive, but so I saved up for 7 years for it. I saved for 7 years, and then buy it, but I didn't. But I ended up buying more than I went in for.
Oh, wow.
But so I broke my principle. But then I felt guilty for breaking my principle. So basically, I went and had to sell my investments and stuff. And it's like, okay, I need to not pay interest on a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
And so that's live within your means. Live within your means. The next principle is tithing. So I heard Bill Johnson say that he said tithing is a pleasant discussion for those who which the matter is settled. So what he meant was, people that don't pay tithes, when you mention tithing, they're like, oh, not tithing again. They're talking about that again. But if you pay a tithe regularly, it's a pleasant discussion. Oh yeah. So who has Proverbs 3, 9 through 10?
Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will bring over with the new wine.
Right, so it's saying give God the first of all your crops, and if you do, your barns will overflow. So pay God first, honor God first. So that's the promise of tithing. So tithing has a promise. Yeah. Some people say that, hey, I don't need to tithe because that was a law. Mm-hmm. And Jesus got rid of the law. Jesus got rid of the law. But the law, Moses brought in the law. So the law came from Moses. But Abraham tithed. Abraham tithed to Melchizedek. So the tithe existed before the law. Yeah. So the argument that the tithe is part of the law is wrong, because the tithe was existence before the law. Abraham tithed, and Abraham wasn't under the law. The law didn't come to Moses. So the tithe was 400 years before Moses, before the law came. Yeah. There was a tithe. Right. And people say, well, tithe, and the Bible doesn't say what percentage I should tithe. Maybe I can just do 2%. I can do what I want. But the word tithe, the Hebrew word tithe, means 1/10. Mm-hmm. So there's not really any question how much you should 1/10. Mm-hmm. It's like, how much should I 1/10? Maybe 1/10.
Yeah.
You have Malachi 3, 8 through 10.
Yeah, sure. Will a mere mortal rob God, yet you rob me? But you ask, how are we robbing you? In tithes and offerings. You are under a curse, your whole nation, because you are robbing me. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says Lord Almighty, and I will see and see if I will not open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will be no room, there will not be room enough to store it.
Right, so God says, and not tithing is robbing God. Mm-hmm. So this is the only place in the Bible that I know of where it says God tells you to test Him. Mm-hmm. He says test you in tithing, and it's linked with blessing. I remember when I was in college and I would be short of money. Some people would go try to work a job. Some people would, I had one friend from the neighborhood. He would say, "Hey, if you loan me $20, I can turn it into $60." And he was selling stuff in little bags, little plant-based stuff. So I was like, okay. But I would, when I was short on money, I would go to church and tithe. And that was just what I did to get money. I knew God was going to give me more, and I didn't do it, and I was like sure that it would work out when I did it. I didn't doubt that it would. Like he was sure that he could sell weed and make money. I was sure that I can go tithe and make money.
Yeah.
And so
somehow God was going to bless you.
Right, and it always worked. It always worked. So I don't know if that's biblical or not.
I don't think it is what it is. I think it is that God knows we're young and dumb, and then but then you trust in Him,
right?
And He responds your faith, because He's gonna show you more, and He's gonna do more with your heart. Look at where you are now, right?
Yeah.
So I think He knows our heart, and even though you're doing it for that purpose for doing, but you were not a grown up that kind of with malicious,
Yeah.
like the pastors and TV saying, "Give me more, and God will give you." Right? Those
yeah. Well,
this is your faith. You said, okay, I'm not gonna do the weed thing, but God is gonna bless this $10, $20 that I give,
right?
And He will give me more because His word says that.
Right.
You knew that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we don't want to give with the expectation of getting back. So in general, we don't want to use a tithing plate as a slot machine.
Well, now I know that we don't want to test them that way. We want to do like Daniel and the other three that they say
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
That God be the glory whether He does
but
save
even
him or
if He
not.
doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that's how we do it now, right?
Right. So we trust that God will provide. Right. We trust that God will provide, but we tithe because it is God.
Right.
Well,
We tithe because it's His.
Yes.
And
we don't tithe because we want something back from Him.
Right.
We tithe because it's
we
His.
know He blesses us anyways.
Right.
Yes. Every day is a blessing. We wake up, breathing. Yeah.
Okay, and the last principle is giving. So there was a comedian, Michael Jr. He said he was saying, we should all give. We need to give to the poor. He said, I'm not talking about tithing, that's stealing. He said, but I'm talking about giving. I'm talking about giving, being generous to other people.
Yeah.
So there's two types of giving. There's giving by the word and giving by the spirit. So giving by the word is the tithe. So you're commanded to give that. Giving by the spirit is when you support causes or give to people because the Holy Spirit put it in you to give.
Yeah.
So you felt compelled to give. So there's no percentage you need to specifically give, or to a certain group or people that you have to give to. It's giving it's kind of in addition to your tithes. It's whenever the Holy Spirit leads you. So you have Proverbs 19:17.
Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and He will reward them for what they have done.
So it's saying that if you're kind to the poor, then you're lending to God, and God will repay you. So it's saying that if you do give money to a poor person, then now God owes you money.
Yeah.
So it isn't. So if you talk to, millionaires and billionaires, most of them will say that giving is an important part of their life. Even the non-Christian ones. Even the non-Christian ones will say that they feel important. It's important to give. So it's a principle. This principle that God says, if you give to the poor, I'll repay you. That's not just for Christians. That's for everybody.
Yeah.
So God takes on the debt of the poor. You have Matthew 6:3-4.
Yeah. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you.
Amen.
Yeah,
Right.
Amen.
So we shouldn't give for
Yeah.
recognition. We shouldn't give for thanks. We shouldn't give to get praise from other people.
Right.
We should give in secret. So don't brag about what you give. You shouldn't tell people, hey, I helped that guy out. Hey, you should do it in secret, and then God will reward you in public. And then giving to your family. You have 1 Timothy 5:8.
Anyone who does not provide for their relatives, and especially for their own household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever.
So it says if you don't give to your household, give to your own family, especially ones that live with you, then you're worse than an unbeliever. So you need to support your family first.
Yeah.
So if you're giving, being generous, you need to be generous to your family first. There's a discernment to use in terms of if you're enabling somebody's lifestyle, you don't. There's a discernment that comes with that. You don't want to always just give, but in general, you want to help out your family members.
Right.
Well, like my mom doesn't work, I try to provide for her because she doesn't work, right? That's the kind of help also that it's talking about.
Yeah, your family.
Your kids, your spouse.
Right.
You provide for them first, and then He'll bless you.
Right. Yeah. Yes. All right. So let's see. So those are the 7 points. Any thoughts?
I think when you give, when you give generously, you should know who you're giving to and what your reason is,
Right.
why you give it generously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
It don't have to be money. It could be your time,
That's
Yes.
true.
energy,
Right.
Yes.
and all those things.
Yeah.
God will
Yeah,
still
that's
honor
true.
that.
Yes.
Attention.
Attention, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of attention.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't have to be money.
Yeah.
Giving generously, definitely time. Because some people, time would be more important, or just make them feel like a real
Invest in
person.
friendship, right?
Yeah, isn't that friendship? Yeah.
Yeah, some people just are your attention. Just having a conversation with somebody that everybody else is passing by.
Right.
That's being generous to give. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Yeah.
That's such a good investment. You put your money where you back what this organization that you support. And put an investment in time and allocate that time to do that.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. That's really what we're supposed to be as disciples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Then it comes to serving.
Serving. Yeah.
Right.
Serving. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. In summary, the question isn't, is this purse too expensive or is this car too expensive? The question is, did you tithe 10%? Are you saving and investing for the future? Are you debt free? Are you giving to others as the Spirit leads you? Because when you can answer yes to all of those questions, then nothing is too expensive. So if you've done all of that, then you can buy $1 million car. You can buy a $50 million house. It's not too expensive for you.
Yeah.
If you're tithing, you save for the future, you're debt free, and you're giving, whatever you spend above that is not too much.
Right.
But if you can't answer yes to all those questions, then whatever you buy is too expensive. If you haven't saved for the future, if you aren't debt free, then you should be buying the least expensive purse, the least expensive pair of shoes, the least expensive car that there is, until you've taken care of those other things first. Deuteronomy 8:17 and 18 says, "You may say to yourself, my power and strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me.
Mm.
But remember the Lord God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth, and so confirms His covenant, which He swore to your ancestors as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So God gives us the ability to make money.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to remember that God is our source. We need to remember that everything we have belongs to God. Our money belongs to God. God owns our money. God owns our time. God owns our relationship. So whatever you want God to bless, if you want God to bless your finances, if you want God to bless your relationship, whatever you want God to bless, you need to put Him first in it. So put Him first in your relationship. Put Him first in your marriage. Put Him first in your business and He'll bless it. Put Him first in your career. If you put God first in your finances, He'll bless your finances.
Yeah.
Put Him first with your time, He'll bless your time. So the ultimate money management tool is praying to God. God, what would you have me to do? So ask God, what to do before you spend. So we want to be stewards of what God has given us. We want to plan for our financial future. We want to plan for our earthly future. But it's also, and more important, to store up for our treasures in heaven. 1 Timothy 6:17-19 says, "Instruct those who are rich in the present world not to be conceited, or to fix their hope on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly supplies us with all things to enjoy. Instruct them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, storing up for themselves as a treasure of a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is life indeed." So Paul tells us to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous, and to be ready to share. And if we do that, we'll store up treasures for ourselves in heaven. So we want to enjoy what God has given us, and we want to be good stewards of what God has provided us. But our ultimate goal is to prepare for our treasures in heaven, in our eternal life. So just walking away, let's seek the truth, live the life.
Right.
Any thoughts?
Maybe a decade or longer ago, I used to say, everything I have, it costs me. I have it because of me.
Yeah.
Nobody has given me anything. I have worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And then I became to accept God and get to know Him better. Then I said, "Oh, sorry, Lord, I said those words." Yeah, I used to be proud and say those things, that what it says there, that everything I have because of I work hard, because I got it. So yeah.
Not now.
No.
God is
I'll
good.
back us.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. A lot of people, they say, and it's kind of the same when people say, if I can do it, anyone could do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same thing, saying,
Yes.
I struggled so hard. I did it myself, and it was so hard for me though. No one's situation can be as bad as mine.